Greg Ginn was frustrated. The Hermosa Beach guitarist had spent the better part of 2 years pouring his heart and soul into his band, a noisy quartet called Panic, and had nothing to show for it. Panic was faster than the Stooges and heavier than Black Sabbath. The band had its own gear, rehearsed in its own practice space, and wrote its own material, which was part of the problem because venues wouldn't book new bands that played original music. From the clubs in Hollywood to the bars along Pacific Coast Highway, bookers were looking for musicians who could play top 40 hits. I thought of music as kind of a scam, Ginn said. Ginn didn't get into music until he checked out the action at the Lighthouse, a nightclub down the street from his parents' house that happened to be the most important venue for jazz music on the West Coast. Ginn played guitar during breaks from his studies at UCLA, but after seeing the Ramones play at the Roxy Theater in the summer of '76, all he wanted to do was make his own noise. Ginn started writing songs, both the music and the lyrics. It took him a while to find people who were as serious about being in a band as he was. His younger brother Raymond struggled through the songs on bass guitar, but he wasn't a musician. He had his own ambitions as a visual artist and christened himself with the pen name Raymond Pettibone. Ginn's abrasive yet commanding style developed from not being able to rely on other players. I was doing songs that could be held down by lead guitar, Ginn said. Ginn found his singer, Keith Morris, at the local record store. Morris knew a rock and roll drummer named Brian Migdal, the younger brother of a close friend who died in a car accident. They started jamming in Ginn's garage. Things began to click when Gary McDaniel of Worm took over on bass. McDaniel, who had changed his name to Chuck Dukowski, let them use his band's practice space in an abandoned bathhouse on the Strand dubbed the Wormhole. The Hermosa Beach police decided this was too much excitement and kicked everyone out. Ginn rented a space in a strip mall on Aviation Boulevard not far from one of the bait-and-tackle shops Morris's father owned and operated. The band went back to work, conducting marathon practice sessions that lasted late into the night and occasionally attracted crowds of friends. When the calendar flipped from 1977 to 1978, Panic still hadn't played a single show, which was becoming a source of frustration. Panic participated in the burgeoning punk scene that had taken root in Hollywood and was spreading to every corner of Southern California. Morris even made the drive up to San Francisco to see Johnny Rotten detonate the Sex Pistols at Winterland. Despite the band's engagement in the scene, Panic was spurned by Hollywood punks. They considered us to be nothing more than beach rats, Morris said. If they were competing in the Sid Vicious look-alike contest, we were competing in the Peter Frampton look-alike contest. That didn't sit well with a lot of those people. The band's appearance defied fashion-conscious Hollywood insiders and helped define its own aesthetic. The members of Panic didn't dress up to go to punk rock shows or to play gigs. They wore the same clothes on stage as they wore when rehearsing or going to work. This translated to a lack of opportunities in Hollywood. There was a kind of anti-suburban vibe in the early LA punk culture, Dukowski said. Ginn believed the best way to get people to take his band seriously was to put out a record. Panic couldn't get a gig because it didn't have a record. But how do you get a record deal when you've never played a show?